You would think we didn't have a main topic tonight, but we do actually. We got 2 for the price of 1. So what we're gonna cover first is ryguy266's story that he just out, and the name escapes me. Hold on, let me just bring it up here. Okay, it is Trophy, and here I'm gonna read just the introduction paragraph, and then we will get into the story itself. Ryan, if you want to read it to us, storytelling by all means. Sure. The floor is yours. So
well, yeah, I can read the intro, and then I will say there is. I just added this afternoon. I don't know if you've refreshed your page. I added a photo of the mini that the story was based on.
Give me a moment. I see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. There it is. Yeah. All right. There we are.
It's something.
All right. Well, Ryan, the floor is yours. Inspire us, sir.
Yeah, so in a short break from the typical myth format, this one is not about a real-life Heroscape game. This is a bio I wrote for a unit I submitted to an NGC contest, which is viewers of this podcast would be well familiar with, I'm sure. The unit was spooky. Unfortunately, the bios weren't displayed with the units in their display thread for the contest. And I thought the story was really fun, and I thought it should have some eyes on it, so I decided to upload it as one of my myths. I think it fits well. Put a trigger warning in here. This is the most gruesome one yet. Happy Halloween. And then thanks to from an idea from the average fan, I tossed in photos of the mini and the card. And I can just quickly go through the card here.
There it goes. Yeah.
The mini's name is Vetrascrag. He's got Antler Gore, special attack, which is kind of like Tandros Creel's Cleave, and then his ability Rend Souls, where he has the chance to potentially not be targeted for an attack from the next until the next time you reveal an order marker if he wounds a hero. And then the mini itself is by an artist named MKZ 4360, I think. The miniature's name is Winter Horror, and I think it fits well as a Winter Horror. I first saw it in my friendly local game store, and it caught my eye immediately out of like the display of dozens and dozens of mini. It's such a cool, visually stunning miniature, and that was like a few days after the contest was announced. I knew I wanted to make a card for him and write a little story about him, and that's what I did.
It looks nice. Yeah. Nice. All right. Get into the story Trophy then, and in the spirit of the month that we're in, the time of the year that we're in, it's perfect. So let's get into it.
Was I reading that too?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Whoa. That's a story time, Ryan. You the floor is yours. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. This is not under NDA, so I'm allowed to read this. All right. The hunter pulled the collar of his fur coat closer to his chin. A strong gust, unusual in the dense forest, whipped across his face, stinging any exposed skin it could. "Dad, what are you doing?" another man whined. He scuffed his boot against the corpse at his feet, a beautiful stag with a hole in its neck. "Take the picture already." His friend laughed as the body shook from the impact and swung his own leg into the rear of the creature. "Look, it's trying to get away," his friend mocked, driving his foot into the barrow. The massive carcass jerked, and the hunter's son joined in, tossing his own gun into the snow. The hunter smirked, watching the men kick his future wall mount. He held up a camera, the small device he carried around to document the sport. Every kill needed a frame, and this was the biggest he'd ever bagged. Nothing would match this trophy. He looked through the lens, unfocused through the thin haze in the trees. The man wiped his nose and scrubbed the lens, smearing a few snowflakes across the screen. Screams ripped through the frozen air as his son slammed into a tree. Blood spurted from holes in his chest and neck. He scraped up along the trunk, the bark shredding the skin off his back. His friend whipped the gun around, yelling at the hunter's son, but unsure of what to shoot. Chunks of flesh tore away from the son's face, pulling off his cheeks and eyes. The friend fired, putting a bullet into the son's skull and silencing the piercing shrieks. The friend felt a sharp tug. His head was wet and so hot. Something else drove deep into his ribs. He tried to look down, but he couldn't move his head. Hands reached up to feel the blood-stained antler rammed through his throat. His chest cavity split open, torn apart by the same unseen force. The halves of his body flung into the trees, spraying red onto the pristine ice crystals on the pine needles. The hunter dropped the camera, pinned to his spot in the snow. The camera landed at an angle, pointing up above the stag, and through the lens, a hulking creature turned away from the carcass and toward the hunter. A long maw with sharp fangs snarled, and the creature stood, towering over the man. Its powerful hind legs stalked toward him, making no imprint on the snow. Lengthy claws reached through the man's chest, inflicting no wounds, but taking something far, far more valuable. Its head snapped open, devouring the intangible. When its feast was over, it discarded the body. The hunter thudded against a tree and tumbled to the ground. His intact form would be a clue to the other invaders. No human would ever take life in this forest again. And if they did, well, Vetraskrak was waiting.
Nice. Yeah, that was.
Well, I'll say that yes. Kids, get out of the room. I should.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is with these things, I don't pre-read Ryan's stories just so I can get the full element of the story. But how I say, age warning. Mature.
We gave the warning.
Yeah.
We gave the warning beforehand.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's I like the horror vibe appeal to that. I mean, it's not based off a Heroscape game, but it's describing like the lore of a potential Heroscape custom miniature, and
Yeah.
It's a horror type creature, but it's got a reason why it's doing what it's doing. So it's almost like if anybody who's read the original story of Frankenstein, and the monster with that, the monster has good reason for doing what it does. And even though I think this creature is a little bit more aggressive, it's still defending it. It's still yeah.
Fun fact: I wrote an essay on Frankenstein, back in when we did Victorian era stuff. So yeah,
It's a really
the idea
good
of
read.
the vengeance aesthetic of monsters in general. Like, I've always enjoyed that's the concept that comes with Victorian era enemies or Victorian era monsters, and then of course the legends that we are inspired to create based on those. It's like, the humans are the problem, right? Like that's the biggest point, is to who are the true monsters is the question that always gets asked, because then it's like you see this gory claw ridden thing that's going around tearing things up, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what an evil thing. But do you ever ask the reason why? And then you find out, well, I guess it's kind of valid why it's doing what it's doing. We kind of made it do what it's doing. And so I've always enjoyed that about monster stories. And Ryguy, you did a good job capturing that aesthetic,
Yes.
the Victorian era aesthetic of the vengeance of a monster. It's very, very, very poignant there.
And
So the moral of the story for any monster story is to become a monster, so people can feel. Because obviously humans make you the monster, so then you just become a monster. So everybody becomes monsters, and that's what Monster Inc. is all about. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Wow, that's lots of
Whoa.
connections there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
I just love your writing style,
Yeah.
Ryan. It's very evocative. It's very you kind of start off very kind of small, and then and you have a wide breadth of I'm getting whiplash from a humorous story we read a couple weeks back to this, haunted story. So props to you. We had a lot of discussion about this unit in the NGC. We really liked it. Just the feel and the threat and the story was very prominent in our minds. And so this is the second time reading it. I'm still getting a little chills.
Thank you.
I mean, just looking at the miniature, it's like I wouldn't want to meet that in an alley, in a dark alley, or even in a bright alley. It's just like no.
Yeah. In a brightly lit forest. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Walmart, no.
Yeah, walking on. Nope. Nope. My house right now. Nope. If the screen goes black all of a sudden, then you know what just happened.
Spraying red onto the pristine ice crystals on the pine needles, I think, is my favorite line.
It's really good.
I love that so much.
Yeah, it was a great contest NGC ran. There was a lot of really cool units that came out of it. So I was very happy to have created this. I thought I liked how much irony I was able to interweave in this one. His class is Hunter, which I thought was really funny.
Nice, yeah.
After I had gone back and forth between like Predator, Terror, and then I wrote the bio and I thought, okay, Hunter is perfect for him. I also think I also went back and forth on his general for a little while.
Right.
Valkyrie is like well known for just being chaos for the sake of chaos, and I thought I'm not totally sure if this unit really like meshes with his motivations personally, but I kind of thought if the unit is creating chaos and killing everything it can, maybe Valkyrie doesn't necessarily care why it's doing it as long as it is just sowing chaos and destruction. So that was something that took me a while to figure out too, but I was also satisfied with that juxtaposition of sort of this like forest a forest protector really, which in like just on its base form sounds very like innocent and Disney like, almost like this forest, this cute little deer forest spirit, and then it's just this horrifying monster that rips people in half.
Yeah, it just tears everyone up.
And it's undead.
So
let it bleed. Let it bleed.
Yeah. And then I also wrote the bio after I had made the card, so I did my best to incorporate like what the abilities actually were to show off both the Antler Gore special and the Ren Souls.
Nice.
So
sure. Yeah. That's
stuff.
nice. Yeah, very.
Yeah, I love the card. That's dope. I want to run that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fun. He is really fun.
I like me some undead. Yeah. In fact, it's undead and Valkyrie. Yep. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. Very, very. What can I say else about the story? It's was another well written. I still don't think it's good as the last one. Theme. But
I don't know if I'll ever top that last one. I peaked.
Almost.
I peaked.
Almost, but it was very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, perfect for this month. So absolutely.
Yeah, it's Halloween. You can get a little spooky.
For sure. Well, and thanks again so much. Again, I appreciate Ryan you coming on. And I mean, this was a long time coming because we've read a lot of your stories, and so very glad to have you on to read this one for us tonight. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been really nice to like hear your feedback and have you guys discuss the stories. That's like really valuable as a writer. And it surprised me the first time because I put that first story out there and I had thought, well, the people who browse the fan fiction forums might enjoy this, and then you replied posting the clip where you talked about the podcast, and it was really sweet. So I was inspired to write more, and it's a full anthology now. I think this was the fifth one, or maybe the sixth one. The fifth one, yeah.
Yeah, we're keeping you busy, and that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of you out there,
we want more.
We
want more.
There are other lore stories out there, and we will get to them eventually. But yeah, we're transfixed on these myths of Valhalla for sure.
There is, I know, and I feel like I got lucky to have you guys stumble upon my lore out of all of the lore out there. I think it is the right length for a podcast segment.
Right.
There are incredibly expansive lore stories out there. Very well done, like truly like impressive work. It would take you like 5 podcast episodes to get through, only focusing on those. But yeah, out of the bulk of fiction on there, I'm glad you guys found my stuff.